Welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen. We're here with Game 6 for Day 22 of the Starladder Season 8 Round Robin. This is the big kahuna today. The creme de la creme is now before us. Na'Vi versus Fnatic, the best of one here. And this is a game, hopefully for the ages, Cinderin. Hard to say who the favorite is coming into this. Both teams have been performing very, very well. They've been taking games off of each other over the past month. And I think this is about as close to an even matchup as we're going to find here. The ban's already making a lot of sense. Some of those signature heroes taken out of the pool. How you feeling, pal?
It's almost a shame this isn't the best of three, don't you think?
Oh, yeah.
It's always when teams of this caliber meet each other in a best of one, you will at least frequently leave with the feeling that in a best of one, games can be very short just because of random factors such as luck or just a weakness in the draft that teams didn't think of, etc. And then you end up and you feel like, damn it, I wish the other team had a chance to make a comeback after that one game. But best of ones are brutal. They're really unforgiving as well. And both these two teams, this is perhaps one of the most important games. I've said that quite a lot, I've noticed, thinking back on the commentary of this. But it's because there really are so many of these games, especially closing in on the end now. With the close, with a top four as close as it is right now, it's really hard to call who's going to make it. No one is safe, which I think is the first time that comes to mind in terms of Starladder, that the group stages or the preliminaries, whatever we should call it, the round robin, is this close. So
yeah, very
curious to see. And in a best of one, it's all about who gets off to a good start and gets the momentum, of course, without the chance of making a comeback in a second game. Both teams will be playing very standard stuff for them and try to take the game by pressing their advantage. So, Fnatic will be taking the VIII first pick, very common choice for them, especially against Na'Vi, who themselves love to play that hero. And Na'Vi will get the Enchantress and Bristleback, Puppy back on that Enchantress once again, and also denies it from Fnatic. So, and they grab their Prophet. I don't feel like there's anything surprising so far in this draft. Maybe you could say it's a little surprising Fnatic bans Luna in the first phase, but to be fair, Na'Vi have been picking this hero a hell of a lot.
Yeah, they've been picking her third choice mostly, but still really don't want to deal with the Havost Luna. Both teams, also important to note, pretty obvious at this juncture, but still no stand-ins. So this truly is an all-out warfare. Fnatic versus Na'Vi in their prime should be warmed up. This is Fnatic's fourth game today, and they should have some pretty positive morale following them into this match as well. They did go 3-0 earlier with some pretty decisive wins. So we'll see. I don't know what Na'Vi's been up to today, but always a contender, no doubt. And of course, the match after this will be Na'Vi versus SSD, so we'll get to see two Na'Vi matches to round out our long day of casting here on Day 22. But yeah, this draft really pretty straightforward. All four very powerful heroes that these teams like to run. And yeah, Fnatic on that Bristleback. He's been doing a lot of Bristleback action. I like the way Na'Vi handle the Bristleback as well. They tend to put him in the safe lane so he can get that early Vanguard and then start moving about and become a very active Bristleback. Although they do put him in the off lane sometimes. They do their Bristleback a little bit differently than some of these other teams.
Fnatic, it's just a hero I feel like fits Fnatic as a player very well. He's an aggressive player and is a player that's not afraid of trying to make moves on his own. So this hero really appeals to his way of playing, I think. And always good for Na'Vi with their playstyle to have someone who can go in front, because this is a team that loves to fight and loves to make moves in the early game. So if they can have a hero that enables them to really commit and go for tower dives, for example, they will love to pick that up. And Bristleback, with the recent buffs, has proven to be a top pick, and especially a team like Na'Vi, this hero might fit them more than any other team in the West right now. At least that's how I think about it. I think it's a perfect pick for them, and no surprise for me to see them picking in the first two. Now, here comes the question. Na'Vi third pick and Luna is banned. They need to get something else. I don't know. Crystal Maiden is out. That would have perhaps been my choice as the next pick for Na'Vi. And other supports that they often pick are actually out. I'm going to go with Rubik. I'm going to say they'll get a Rubik now for Kuroki. Yeah. He's a big fan of that hero, of course.
Yeah, that is one of Kuroki's signature heroes. I believe he actually even has a Rubik set, so usually when that's the case, you know it's someone's signature, and I'd be a little bit surprised if they didn't grab him. Maybe not with this pick, but certainly with the fourth pick, if they do forego it here. Interesting that Fnatic ban out the TA as well. Of course, Dendi is a very competent TA player, and TA is one of those hard counters to Puck, so perhaps Fnatic gearing up for a Puck pick. But Na'Vi, also a team that likes to run the puck, so they may be hard-pressed to grab the Fairy Dragon if that is something that Na'Vi want to take here in this match for Dendi.
It could also just be a ban because Na'Vi, it's always scary to fight against a lineup consisting of, for example, two heroes like TA and Bristleback, where both of them can go in front and tank a lot, and then they can kind of swap each other out in the fight, if that makes sense. You can kind of make an offensive strategy around going in waves. So TA and Bristleback go in together, and then one of them can retreat out, and the other one can take damage and fight, and then the other one can come back in. These two heroes can kind of rotate in and out of fights, with Refraction and Bristleback respectively are very tanky. And since Fnatic don't have the best heroes at dealing with the Refraction, they might have just considered it's the better choice just to get rid of it. Yep. I still think your point is the better one though. I think the reason they're banning it out is that they're setting up for a particular hero in mid, but it's very hard to say what that one is going to be. There's many heroes that TA is good against. Shadow Fiend is one of them as well, who you often see TA picked against. Maybe they want to go for their Invoker, who TA also does well versus, and perhaps it's also possible these two teams have been scrimming each other. That's obviously something we haven't seen from the caster perspective, but maybe they've just practiced against each other, and Na'Vi have been starting to pick Templar Assassin a lot, and Fnatic have experience against it by playing the scrims, and are like, nah, we're not going to give it away. Sometimes there is a good meaning behind these seemingly random bans that come out that we just can't know from our position.
Yeah, and that's definitely a fair point to make. Vengeful Spirit going to be the third pick for Na'Vi, so a support that hasn't gotten a lot of attention recently, and this is another one. I haven't seen too much of Na'Vi outside of what we've seen them in Starladder. Is this Vengeful Spirit pick something they've been experimenting with, or is this sort of a wild card almost from Na'Vi with that Venge support, especially over the Rubik?
I'm not even sure it's a support. That's
well, in that case,
that's the thing about picking it at this point. They keep their options open. I know Havost is not afraid of playing this one as a carry and can definitely do it as well with the kit of this hero. Is one of the few heroes that actually fits both a support and a carry role. There's very few heroes that can do that, but Bristleback, Vengeful Spirit is one of them who can perform both functions. And if Na'Vi see an opening in the draft for it, they might choose to put it on the carry position, because in Fnatic's position right now, draft-wise, they can't know yet what the plan is, and that's why it's actually a really smart pick, because the less info you give your opponents during the stage of the draft, the harder it is for them to counterpick. So they can just have to stick to their guns and go for their own strategy, but can't make it flavored enough to go against the enemy strat. Now, let's think back a bit to especially Dota 1, but also the earlier days of Dota 2. Vengeful was generally picked as a counter to Enigma, to swap the black hole. Of course, there's a lot of other abilities that have come into play since then that are just as good, if not better. But Vengeful's swap is instant cast, pretty much, and is very positional independent. You just need to be outside the black hole, and then you can stop the black hole. So Fnatic not picking the Enigma for that, I think. They have plans of pushing here. That's what I have to read into this more than anything.
A lot of minions, or summons, whatever the word is. I know minions is a taboo word here in Dota 2, but a lot of summons that they can bring out onto the field. The Familiars, the Treants, and the Eidolons already, so definitely safe to say that some pushing will happen, no doubt.
And then we get Drow Ranger with the Aura.
Yeah, Drow, and it's going to be Invoker. But Invoker actually does work with this pushing. Of course, those Forge Spirits. So a lot of push power here from Fnatic. And, well, Na'Vi, they do have some creep clearing. A Puck last pick would be great here for that huge amount of AoE damage Puck has to clear out those summons, but I guess Scorched Earth works pretty well. They've got the quills, but
I think the quill spray is the most important.
Yeah.
Over an extended fight, Bristleback is going to kill off all the summons.
Yeah.
And once that happens, since it's such a big part of Fnatic's strategy, it's 4 of their spells right now only spawn summons. The Treants, the Familiars... Okay, the Familiars aren't just summons. They're kind of super summons, you know. But still, if they have a way of dealing with all these summons out of Fnatic, they are taking away a big part of their potential in the lineup. So I would definitely agree with getting a Wave Clearer as the last pick for Na'Vi, and I'm sure they're aware of it. They need to get someone with AoE damage to take them down. But it doesn't have to be magical damage like Puck. It could also be physical damage of some sort if they're thinking about it. Alchemist is still an option that Dendi has played a few times, but I'm worried for Na'Vi by having... Oh, sorry, yeah, that was banned in the first phase, never mind. I'm worried if they get a triple melee, though. So I still think they will go for a range for the mid for Dendi.
Ranger.
Windranger is a good call as well. I think that's pretty nice here, although not the easiest lineup once again to land Shackles against. Fnatic is 4 ranged heroes that will generally be spreading out during the fight. But then again, you have a lot of summons to shackle too, so it's probably not that hard to hit a one-person shackle shot at least.
Yeah.
We'll see. I could also imagine Na'Vi even going down the lines of something like a Storm Spirit, but they're gonna get a Lifestealer. Actually,
Interesting.
this is not what I was expecting.
Yeah.
I don't know about this pick here. However, I did say that in Sigma's game as well, and it was worked out very, very well for them in that one, though.
Yeah,
but
well, I don't know that Na'Vi will be able to find that easy of a first blood here, which helped out that Lifestealer quite a bit, but maybe.
I don't know. Who are they putting mid for Dendy is another thing. Is it going to be a mid Doombringer? Because that guy gets crushed by Invoker, I think, if Invoker plays well. Simply just harasses him away. Doom has no armor.
Is there any chance of a Vengeful Spirit mid? That would be really weird, but
then they run double jungle, Doom, and Enchantress.
I guess that's true. Yeah, it's hard to...
That's
the Pugna last pick. You know, I thought about this, but after they grabbed the Invoker, I sort of thought, nah, they don't want to run a Pugna here. But Fnatic really committing to this all-in push. Invoker going to be their only true carry. Nature's Prophet as well, but certainly no one that will out-carry that Lifestealer. So Fnatic going to be doing this heavy push.
I really like Fnatic's draft here.
Well, I know how much you like Pugna, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, of course, I'm a big fan of Pugna, but also just the way the draft has been developing overall. I think Fnatic's adaptations have actually been very good along the way, and in my book, Navi's heroes don't really deal with the summons that well because of the last pick. I'm not sure Lifestealer was the right choice. We'll see if it proves to be. The thing that Na'Vi have going for them is that they have a couple of pretty good heroes at taking down the Nether Ward. Both Bristleback and Lifestealer can kind of commit and go in and get rid of that ward. And on the other hand, they don't have the highest mana costs, so it's not that important for them to not fight under the ward as it is for other lineups. It's not too bad in that regard. I think if Fnatic get off to an explosive start and start taking towers, I'm afraid Na'Vi's going to lose the map control really quickly here.
Yeah.
And I think I thought Puffy realized that, so he's like, okay, I'm gonna buy 3 smokes and just smoke early on. He bought 3 and sold 2 just to mess with us. So yeah, they obviously do restock when you sell them back in the cooldown.
Yes. Yes, that's
in that 10-second sellback period. So, well, certainly going to be interesting and something different than what we've been watching so far. No big surprises on who's playing what for Na'Vi. Puppy on the Enchantress, Kuroki on the Venge. The support duo, as always, Havost plays Havost. Then we've got Dendy on the Doombringer. And finally, Funnick in an offlane Bristleback position.
Yeah, so it will be Dendy solo mid-Doom, and I don't think that I've ever seen this, so this will be a treat for me at the very least, and I'm sure at least a handful of viewers out there as well. On the Radiant side, of course, we do have Team Fnatic, and down at the bottom they will be doing a tri-lane, it looks like. Era going to be on the hard farming position 1 Pugna, No-Tail going to be playing on the micro-intensive Visage, Fly going to be in the jungle on that Enigma, so I shouldn't have said tri-lane, my apologies, but Enigma looking like he will be defensively jungling on the Radiant side of the map. Hani going to be solo mid on the Invoker, and of course in the off lane it will be Trixie playing on that Nature's Prophet. And oh my, we've got a fungal Nature's Prophet here. I saw this set and I thought about buying it, and then I looked at it and recognized it looks absurd. I can't believe he's using it. Mushroom Head Furion here.
We talked about sets that are the reason that the Alpine Ursa got removed because it was too far from the original hero.
This is pretty far.
This goes in the theme of Nature's Prophet being like from nature and being one with the mushrooms and whatever we can read into that. But I don't know. I'm not a big fan of this hat. That's it. I think the rest of the set makes a lot more sense, but I don't even know. He's only got 2 items from that set. He's got the hat and I don't know what the other one is. Yeah, he's got the arms as well. I don't know, but cosmetics are just cosmetics. Let's have a look at the game. In mid, we are going to have the matchup I expected. Hani Invoker versus Dendy Doom. I think Hani will get the better of this lane once he reaches level 3.
Yeah. Doom in the mid lane is sort of an interesting play here, and I'm kind of curious about how he's going to level up his initial abilities. He did go first point in Devour for a little bit of extra farming, but this is just not a matchup I'm used to seeing, and I sort of agree with you. I think Hani should be able to zone him out once he gets those Forged Spirits. Looks like he is going to do that pretty standard Hani opener here, the point in Exort as well as the point in Quas. And yeah, I think that Forged Spirit is going to be the make it or break it, especially since Doom has no armor early on. That little bit of armor that will get melted off will just make Hani hit so hard here.
It's funny that you can melt off the armor that he doesn't have.
It sounded funny, but it works. It works.
Yeah. Well, that's how it works. That's very true. And
yeah.
let's try to think about how this game is going to revolve what it's going to revolve around early on. I think Puppey is going to be the most impactful hero on the entire map. He has a lot of work to do, and a very good roaming combo with Vengeful Spirit. These two are very strong together early on. Venge with an easy-to-land single-target stun that deals significant damage as well. Gives an easy setup for the Centaur, for example, follow-up, or whatever he desires, but I think it's going to be mid they have to focus on. The problem is Hani is doing a great job at keeping the lane in a good position, and now Puppey's even going to... Never mind, he's not getting spotted, that's his own ward. But Trixie being very cautious up here and will not be caught off, I believe.
Nope. There's a double damage here, though, that Puppey is going to grab, so may rotate towards the mid. But look at this play from Dendi. He moved into the jungle and he grabbed the ice armor. So now he is going to have some armor to try and deal with these Forged Spirits. Such a smart play right here, and I'm really glad we mentioned that minus armor against the no armor Doom. And I think this might actually give Dendi the longevity he needs to maintain a presence in this lane, even once those Forged Spirits come out. Though up top, Trixie... not going to find it. He is going to back up in time, but a close call.
And what Navi's going to try now is, they didn't get the kill, but they have a lot of pushing potential since they still have that Wild Wing Ripper for another 40 seconds. Actually, first blood.
And we both missed it.
He managed to get a 1-for-1 there.
Yeah.
Fnatic getting the first blood on No Tail.
Yep.
And now Navi up top, trying to dive Trixie. I don't think they're catching him. He has boots first, so can't really follow up there with neither Venge nor Enchantress. Can't get in close enough to follow through. Yep. But they will try to put some pressure on the tower now. Open wounds. Actually, Trixie came in way too close here. Is going to get stunned by KuroKy as well. There's the minus armor. And an easy kill. Not quite sure how he got in range of open wounds at that point.
Poked way too far forward. That's really all there is to it. And with that, Fnatic will lose this top tier 1 tower. Probably we're going to lose it anyhow. But it is going to go down in the mid lane here. Trixie going to pour it in. They're going to try and make something happen onto Dendi. Dendi going to be in big trouble as that cold snap comes. One more auto attack ought to do it. And that is going to do it. A close call as he almost gets into the fog. But Trixie will finish him off. So at least going to make some recovery. And they don't hand over that top tower for free. Enchantress was killed by the Radiant. I have to imagine that was intentional for a free trip back to the well.
Trixie!
No. Oh. Uh-oh. Trixie now killed by... Oh,
he
God.
took 4 consecutive tower shots and just died. And Fnatic came in range and got all the experience of that. That's a big misplay. Now No Tail coming in, trying to get on Fnatic. Can't do it. That was very, very odd.
And now No Tail going to grab an invisibility rune here. Fnatic going to use a salve. And, there is a sentry down. It is a Radiant sentry, though, so No Tail going to be okay. Although he did take a couple of quills there. A few more and he would have gone down. But, yeah, we just had 2 kills to the creeps, the Radiant and the Dire, and I don't know that Puppey's was intentional. He still had some gold in the bank, so he didn't spend it all before he went down. I think it was a misplay, though. Of course, I didn't catch it on the camera. We're not off to a very good start here in terms of camera work, so I'm going to shake it off. I'm going to focus here. No Tail coming in the mid lane. Yep, Dendi in some trouble. Fly going to move out of the jungle. Trixie going to pour it in as well. It's going to be a 4-on-1. There's the Sunstrike. And that will make up for an easy kill there in the mid. And Hani going to be the one to grab it. So Dendi going to fall here twice within about a minute of each death. So that is great news for Hani. He's now level 5. Doom, well, he's level 5 as well. But, yeah, Hani going to start to pull ahead maybe a little bit here. They are still very close in farm. 18 in piece. Creep kills.
Yeah, Dendi has done a really good job here in the mid lane, I have to say. Staying on par with Invoker so far is very well done. And I guess, like you said, a lot of it can be attributed to that Frost, the Ice Armor creep that really made him able to sustain the damage that Hani can dish out in this lane. So, intelligent choice. But for me, the biggest problem for Fnatic right now is that Fnatic is level 6. He's an off-lane Bristleback who was playing 1-on-2 against Pugna and the Visage. He got the 1-on-1 exchange on the first blood against No Tail, and then Trixie dying to the tower in the mid lane basically gave him another free level, I think, on the Bristle. You don't want Fnatic to get out of control on this hero, especially not when he's perhaps the best wave clearer Na'Vi has available. He can deal with the summons. If he gets tanky enough, he can go in without being too worried, because Fnatic's lineup isn't really about burst damage.
Yep, and here down in the bottom, a smoke going to be used by Puppey and KuroKy. They're going to rotate in. Era going to be in big trouble. Looks like he's shopping. He's just standing there. And that Pugna, well, he's going to be able to head back to the shop now, that's for sure. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Doom does get picked off once again. Simultaneous kills happening all over the map. But Trixie did grab that one. He did use the ultimate to finish him off. And they will make it a 1-for-1 across the map. But they are really putting a lot of pressure onto Dendi here. He's taken 3 spills already. So, of those 5 kills, Fnatic have been able to find at least 3 of them on that very high-value mid-target. But Hvost did grab an early Midas here, right around that 6-minute mark here. And, yeah, this Lifestealer off to the races. Number 1 on the net worth chart by a big margin, 1k ahead of Hani, who is the leading farmer of Fnatic.
And that's an important thing to get going for Na'Vi here. They're behind in experience, but ahead on gold, mainly because of the tower kill, of course. But if Hvost gets a good start on Lifestealer, he has a tendency to deliver really good results in the mid game, and it's important that that happens, because once again, I feel like Fnatic's draft, when we reach an early mid game position, they can just get completely out of control in their pushing power. But Na'Vi so far has contained them. They're not getting anything out of their Pugna just yet. The bottom tower for Na'Vi is still fully healthy. It hasn't even lost health just yet, which is very impressive to me. That Fnatic hasn't started using that level 4 Nether Blast on that just yet, but
yeah. And
this is good for Na'Vi.
Yeah, Arcane Boots already out for the Pugna, though it's really not going to get too scary until maybe another 5 minutes or so. Right around that 10-12 minute mark is when Fnatic, I think, will start to hit that stride in terms of knocking down these towers and grouping up. Right now, just trying to get those core items that they need. Down in the bottom, a gank going to come Funnic's way. Trixie going to pour it into the trees here. Decrepify going to be used, and look at the timing on that Decrep. He still got hit by the Wrath of the Nature after it took a whole bunch of bounces. And that does make for an easy kill. Great coordination from Fnatic there to pull that off as elegantly as they did.
Yep, and we'll be transitioning into a push here. Unfortunately, Trixie doesn't have mana for Nature's Call, so I don't know if they can take this tower right now. I believe they can't. Unless, if they stick around and Na'Vi doesn't show up here, at least Era has plenty of mana here for a couple of Nether Blasts, and looks like Na'Vi might just not be interested in holding this. Arguably also the least important tower for the Dire. Okay, Bristle is going to port in and hold it here. But Na'Vi would be okay with losing this tower. It's kind of a similar position as the Radiant top tier 1 tower. These 2 towers not the most important ones in terms of map control overall. But Funnic still holds it. And we'll be going back to the bottom lane, grabbing his level 8 at 8 minutes on an offlaner. This is still, to me, the biggest thing of the game right now is how much Funnic has been able to acquire.
Yeah, though, to be fair, Trixie is now level 8 also, so the offlaners are both doing pretty well on that front, but they are at least keeping up with each other. Of course, Funnic is ahead of the Nature's Prophet, but they're sort of going toe-to-toe. It looks like the Bristleback is going to go straight for a Hooded Defiance here. At least that's what he's gearing up for. But Puppey, with the surprise inside, is going to get scattered out in the jungle. Hvost going to pop out. Sunstrike comes, is going to connect with Puppey. No Tail's already fallen, and Puppey does survive with just a couple of hit points to spare, and the Nature's Attendants will pick him back up. Hvost going to kill another ward, and now Era in big
really
trouble. He is going to back up, but Dendi is really fast here. He's got some swiftness aura for attack speed, but wow, Pugna just going to fall. Why is he? Oh, he's got a haste rune. Jeez, I'm such a dope. He's got a haste rune on. Of course he's fast.
Fair though, it was kind of hard to see the red trail behind the Doom with the way he was running. I'm not quite sure why that was.
Might have been the Scorched Earth.
Visible.
Yeah.
Funnic pulling a Trixie. What's going on? Why are these heroes just dying to towers? I don't understand.
I don't know. It's happened 3 times now, and I'm not really sure if there's something in the air or what to make of it. But yeah, it will be a tier 1 for tier 1 tower exchange, but still Na'Vi did find a pretty good exchange down there in the bottom. Just look at that net worth chart though. Everything pretty even except for Hvost. He is the big outlier here, way ahead of everyone else. In the mid, Kuroki will port in. He's just going to get dropped. I don't know what his plan was there, porting into 5. But he is going to pay for it. And this tier 2 tower in the mid now going to take heavy pressure. No glyph available for Na'Vi here. And they are going to start to slow siege. There's that Q from Pugna coming out. They've got the Arcane Boots. And Na'Vi will make a hold. We'll see, though. The tower certainly going to fall. Nether Ward comes down. Tower does get denied. Hvost secures that last hit. Doom looking to pursue. And no ultimate up for another 25. So I don't think they'll be able to grab a kill. Funnic still in the front lines here. And he did finish that Hooded Defiance.
He's going to be nasty to bring down once he gets an HP pool up and running. He still only has his base strength. Once he gets treads and maybe a vitality booster for a Vanguard, Fnatic are going to be hard-pressed to bring him down once here.
Yeah.
And Na'Vi, not really too interested in pushing, because their lineup isn't too good at it, to be fair. I think they're more focused on just farming up and trying to get an objective like Roshan, where Fnatic might not be aware of this at all to contest. Funnic is basically just baiting them here in the mid. Puppey's also going to show up. This is straight up mind games from Na'Vi. The problem is Fnatic did have a ward covering this area, so they do see Na'Vi going into the pit, and this is not going to work.
Yeah, I think Fnatic are wise to it. If I'm not mistaken, I did see some of those radiant-colored pings coming out onto the Roche pit, so they will sort of push forward, and that will pull Na'Vi out of the pit. A smart play from Na'Vi, a noble effort, but yeah, not going to be successful. Up top, wow, Havost going to get another tower deny, as Nature's Prophet does port up there to finish off the tower. The tower still falls, but that's back-to-back tower denies for Na'Vi, so at least mitigating some of the cost-effectiveness of this Fnatic lineup. Though, Fnatic going to keep the pressure on. They will smoke up here in the mid lane. They do have a Forged Spirit with them as well. And looks like, based on what we see on the minimap, they're going to go for the wraparound here. Fnatic going to poke up to the high ground. He'll get decrepified, and oh no, Fnatic going to be in big trouble here. But a swap from Kuroki will keep him alive, and that's going to be the end of this exchange for now. Though Na'Vi may want to be the aggressors. They did put down a sentry, so a very aggressive ward placement there for Fnatic, and give them some good intel of this entryway into the dire jungle.
Yeah. Bendy will be trying to get a haste rune. He might pay for this really hard, though.
What
gets denied by Trixie. Very well played here by Fnatic, grabbing that kill. They were 5-man there. Yeah. I think Dendy is feeling outnumbered this game. He's 0-4-1, but to be fair, he's been ganked really hard.
Yeah.
It's not just one guy, it's 4 or 5-man ganks. I guess he's not having the best game of his life.
Yeah, but you're exactly right. To be fair, Fnatic have been putting a lot of pressure on him. Now, of course, the Forged Spirits don't minus armor on Roshan. I think I sort of made light of that earlier, and of course, Twitch chat had a field day. They do not minus armor on Roshan, so I'm sorry for misleading you guys earlier. We'll see it demonstrated for us here. Not going to be the case, as Fnatic do move into the Roche pit. They will finish it off. Invoker going to grab it, so not going to be sniped. And now Fnatic actually going to be in kind of an odd position. He needs to be a little careful. The Sunstrike, whoa, what a swap from Kuroki. That'll keep Fnatic alive, but now Kuroki going to pay for it, it seems. He will get stuck into Sprout. And Pugna going to finish him off with another blast. So he does play Sacrificial Lamb, but keeps his friend alive. Now, Nature's Prophet going to port forward. Trixie, very aggressive here. Will use the Sprout onto Fnatic. Familiars nearby. They're ready to stun. They really want this Bristleback. And they're going to get it. The Quill's not going to do enough damage. And there's the Doom, going to come out on the Enigma, not a bad target, flying big trouble, looking for a deny perhaps, won't find it. Puppey going to finish him off, now Dendy in some more trouble, he does get decrepified, the follow-up damage not quite there. Era in the front lines, the Sunstrike, not going to connect, and it will cost him a Pugna. Fnatic maybe overcommitting a little bit here, No Tail going to fall as well, double kill coming out for Puppey on the Enchantress. And it looks like that's where the fight is going to settle down, so Fnatic not going to burn the Aegis, of course, or the Aegis, pardon me, it is, of course, on the Invoker. But I guess that's really just an overcommitment, not really any other way to label it.
That was a very nice turnaround from Na'Vi as well. Dendy manning up. He was like, okay, so this game I'm playing 1-on-4, so be it. I'm going to run into 4 heroes and cast Doom and Enigma. I don't care. I know what I'm up against. And got the Doom off. Puppey gets the kill from the side. Did not get the deny on Enigma Fnatic. And then Na'Vi just playing really wisely there because they know they're this close to their base that the reinforcements can come back in. And like you said, Fnatic overextending a little bit, overstaying their welcome there, and Na'Vi, even though they were outnumbered for a big part of the fight, they won by just rotating the right heroes back in and out of the fight. And a very intelligent play from them there. I was about to say, though, that Fnatic were getting a solid grip on this game, because this is what, for Na'Vi, you would be worried about with this kind of draft, that if Fnatic gets some momentum going, get the Roshan and get towers, then Na'Vi have a really hard time fighting this amount of summons and push power, but they're still holding on, and Havost is getting absolutely enormous in this game.
Yep,
He's went so far ahead of everyone else.
Base boots into drums. Of course, he did pick up that Hand of Midas first, but now has an armlet and another 1,200 in the bank, so you're absolutely right. That net worth chart does not lie, and he is got a nice lead for himself. Dendy trying to make some recovery here. Did grab himself a Vanguard to get a little bit of additional survivability. He is going to smoke up alongside his Enchantress, sprinking into the Radiant Jungle, and they're going to bump right into Flying No Tail. That will reveal their gank down at the bottom. It looks like they're trying to fight onto the Nature's Prophet. The Doom ulti is used on No Tail, and he's going to be in big trouble here. Nature's Prophet did actually fall down bottom. Vengeful Spirit did finish him off. Meanwhile, back in this fight, now Fly in trouble. Oh no, Fnatic going to concede 3 untimely deaths here. And not much else they can do about it. Na'Vi with great positioning, a smart smoke from Doom, as well as the Enchantress. And are they going to be able to find Hani here as well? He is going to get off the Ghost Walk. And I don't think they have any detection. I don't see it in their inventories. No, they do have a sentry down, but they won't burn it. Venge not in the best position. And they're going to get the Familiars. Whew, a multifaceted victory there for Na'Vi.
Massive pickup here. They got so much out of that. And, yep. now we're getting to that stage where it's Navi's strength is really starting to kick in. Fnatic, they haven't managed to take the amount of pressure or take the amount of momentum on the map that they would have liked to. I think they were hitting a good run with the Roshan and the 3 kills, but that one overextension has really put Na'Vi back into the game, and they're looking very strong now. Of course, with the mechanism on the Enchantress is helping them a lot now in the fights. Doombringer going for an early Vlad's, I'm sure you're going to be very happy about that.
Yes.
And it's a nice choice as well, especially when you have 3 melee heroes that can all use that lifesteal aura. And of course, the way this game is going, these team fights and the amount of summons, the armor aura is going to be huge and make a big difference against Fnatic's really a lineup that, it's not to say they don't have magic damage, but a big part of their lineup is based around auto-attacking with summons, with heroes, with yeah, well, more summons. They just have so many summons all over that these auras are going to be incredibly effective. So very nice itemization from Dendi here, in my opinion.
Yeah, I definitely agree on that front. And the mech from Puppey is pretty well timed also. Fly did have his a little bit earlier, but in that last fight he was doomed, so didn't even really get to use it. Not the last fight, the overextension in the mid lane near that Dire tier 2. But yeah, items looking pretty straightforward. Hani is working towards an Orchid, and actually does he have it right now? He does. So Orchid going to be in the inventory of the Invoker. Always a big item pickup and may help them out a little bit here. One of the familiars going to fall. Puppey going to get a free little gold pick-me-up there. And up in the top lane, looks like there is a bit of Rat Dota going on. Havost is pressuring away at that tier 3, while Na'Vi are grouped up about the tier 2 down here in the bottom. And fight going to start to break out. Funnick actually going to get caught in the Sprout to start things off. Fly going to use the Black Hole. He's going to catch Doom as well as Funnick. Kuroki does swap out the Doom. Doesn't interrupt it, but will play Sacrificial Lamb and keep Doom alive. Bristleback was able to finish off the Nature's Prophet. Those quills just stacking up a bit too much. Trixie actually does buy back, and he's going to try and get back into the action here pretty quickly. Thinking about porting onto Puppey. Nope, going to cancel it, and then he ports back here behind the team, and they'll be able to just pressure this tower with a 5v4 on the field. They'll start chipping away at it, but they're not going to overcommit. Na'Vi still in an okay position here, looking like they can hold.
Actually, it's actually 5v3. Havost has just run all the way from the top lane to the bottom. He didn't have a TP.
Oh, wow.
So he's basically just crossed the entire map with an invis. He's going to get the perfect stab here. Na'Vi are playing the bait.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh, Havost going in. There's the rage straight away. Going to go on to Trixie. Trixie going to fall. That's a dieback for the Nature's Prophet. Now Hani in some trouble as Havost is up in his face. And Havost has a basher as well. That's going to be the end of the Invoker. Of course, the Aegis going to bring him right back. No Tail now taking a lot of damage. Down he goes. Era in trouble. He's going to fall as well. Hani looking like he might be able to survive. He's still in the mix. He is maybe going to Ghost Walk. He's thinking about it. And yeah, there it is. There's the Invoke for the Ghost Walk. Unfortunately, though, there is a sentry down, and they're going to continue to track him down. Another sentry going to come. He will just throw the Orchid onto Dendi, but won't be enough to keep him alive. Hani going to end up playing the Sacrificial Lamb for Fly as he does walk away. But I think needless to say there, Na'Vi with a very convincing team fight. What seemed like an odd strategy from Havost to walk across the map really paid off with that Invis rune, and of course that very beautiful initiation.
Yeah, just have to give props to Na'Vi for holding there. 4 on 5. Havost wasn't there. They took a 4-man fight. There was a 2-man black hole that almost channeled to its full duration, but the swap from Kuroki saving the Doom there made a big difference in Na'Vi's ability to just hold on. They just needed to hold on and make time pass, and Puppey is doing so much damage in the back end with these impetuses as well. And Fnatic's problem that they're hitting, that I was worried about early on for them, is that they can't really kill Funnick with their heroes right now. They don't have the best composition for bringing down a Bristleback, and extended fights are just going to go Na'Vi's way. They're going to clear out the summons over time, and they're going to kill the heroes with just raw force. They're overrunning Fnatic in the fights, basically. Using Scorched Earth, using Bristleback, and when Lifestealer even comes in, there's just too much beef. Fnatic can't deal with it. They can't bring down the heroes.
And we saw it demonstrated very clearly in that fight. Havost really starting to hit hard now. That basher did come in handy there. He got a couple of well-timed bashes, so to speak. And yeah, that now worth chart. He's now at 13k. Leading farmer on Fnatic is the Nature's Prophet at only 7.3k.
Oh, Era's dead.
Uh-oh, uh-oh. That's a dead Pugna. Yep, they're going to catch him in the jungle. And are they going to rotate mid? Perhaps. They're thinking about it and may converge. Nature's Prophet is up top right now. Eidolon's going to move out. They'll try and scout it out. They'll get a little bit of intel as they do catch Kuroki. Not sure if they saw Puppey or Dendi, though. And Na'Vi looking for the wraparound. They won't find the engage, but they are just going to be able to take out this tier 1 tower in the mid. And I think Fnatic are going to be forced to let it fall and, well, use it as an opportunity to pressure this tier 2 in the top. Trixie trying to take it down as quickly as he can. I'm not sure he's going to have the time, though. I think Na'Vi going to be able to finish off this tower and will port back, or have the option to port back if they want to defend it. Still a lot of health on this tower, and yeah, they're going to do just that. Glyph was used, Doom is back, and this tower will hold.
Yep, Trixie's going to port out with the Sprout here, and so is Hani. I think this one is really going so heavily in Navi's favor now that Fnatic's point of impact has kind of passed now. They had a good opportunity 5 to 10 minutes ago, but Na'Vi just successfully managed to take some very interesting fights. I'm not sure what words to put on it, because I'm still a little bit confused about exactly how things went down, especially seeing how absent Havost was in the beginning of some of them. Na'Vi just played around and made some really good movement in the fights and just avoided getting killed based on the natural sustainability of both Doom and Bristleback. Fnatic just couldn't take them down, and when Fnatic don't get the kills, they don't get the towers, and that's the problem. Because they've taken 4 towers, which is okay, but they haven't taken map control with it. It's Na'Vi that have the aggressive wards out. They have 2 wards in the enemy jungle here, and Fnatic just can't go anywhere without being at risk here. Fnatic, however, are going to get a pick off on Kuroki, and might try to expand it here by getting Puppey. Oh, almost on the Sprout, but good time to have a haste rune.
Yeah. Definitely. So, 5-man smoke, they do get a kill onto Kuroki, not bad, but of course, Vengeful Spirit, not one of those really high-value targets. They really need a kill on Havost. Havost is the only one with a perfect record right now, 3-0-4. He has had so much room. We've gone back to the net worth many a time, actually doubling everyone else for the most part, even the leading farmers on his own team. Kind of ridiculous how fast he's taken off here. The graphs reflecting what we've been talking about. Just about an 8,000 gold lead or so. Experience graph now upwards of about 10,000 here at the 23 minute mark. Na'Vi now going to move into the Roche pit. He has respawned. Havost as well as Fnatic just going to be able to take it down, and that sticky nasal viscous nasal goo makes for an easy Roshan kill as we see that minus armor stacking up, and yeah, he's just going to get cut through like
Fnatic are aware of it. They're going to try to deny the Aegis, I think, with this Visage Bird, but not going to happen. Instead, he's going to resummon them top. And tower for Aegis. I think this is okay for Fnatic, because I think trades right now are the best they can really hope for. They're going to need Na'Vi to make a bad move, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Dendi gets the Doom on the right target, but actually maybe they can't capitalize on this. They're not really getting a nice Sprout from Trixie as well, blocking off the path a little bit there.
And Trixie going to port out. No Tail could still be in a little bit of trouble perhaps. Trixie does make it out. No Tail turns for the slow, wants to buy some time for Fly. He'll be able to port out. And I think they're all going to survive as long as Fly can make the great escape here. I was thinking perhaps Dendi could level death onto Fly and interrupt that port, but I guess didn't get out of fog in time to make it happen. So Fnatic do get out. I guess that is a victory. Like you said, they do trade the tier 2 for the Roche.
Yeah, very well done by them. They're not getting caught, because that would have cost them a lot. The thing they got out of this was they didn't only get the tier 2 tower, but they got aggressive wards in Navi's jungle. At least they got 1 ward inside the jungle, and they have 1 across the river. So they're starting to get a little bit of control here. That is, that's helping them get some sort of safety zone where they can feel like they can farm. And when you have a hero like Prophet, the most important thing is that you have vision, so you feel confident in going to split push. Since Na'Vi don't really have anything against the split pushing Prophet, he could become Fnatic get out of trouble free card here. There's no Shadowblade on Doom. There's no really solid Doom ganker here apart from maybe the Vengeful Spirit swap. But as long as he's under this ward that Fnatic has in that jungle, there's absolutely no way they're going to get caught off here. And that's why Trixie is feeling confident at bottom right now.
Yeah, and he did grab a Hand of Midas as well, so Trixie just trying to capitalize on that farm and maybe get a little bit scary. Looks like he may be working on an Orchid of his own. They will finish off this tier 2 tower up here in the top lane. And, well, that gives them the tower edge once again here. All of the outer towers now down for Na'Vi. So if they take a bad team fight, Fnatic will be pressing forward straight into the tier 3s. But that's also where things start to get difficult. The outer towers are pretty easy compared to breaking the base. And I think that's where Fnatic will find themselves a little bit more hard-pressed. Hani has also now picked up his Boots of Travel. But Havost, still the big breadwinner here, now has an Abyssal Blade to go with that armlet as well as his Aegis.
He's showing it off.
Oh, Pugna, he is going to get the Decrepify, but look at that. Infest. Lo and behold, it does magical damage. Decrep not going to save you from that. And, well, Era going to get that first-class ticket back to the well.
That's kind of scary. He basically put down the Pugna during the duration of the Abyssal. Almost. He needed 1 more hit, and then just Infest bursted the rest, so... It's starting to look grim for your team when one of the cores can get brought down in the stun duration of Abyssal, which is 2.0 seconds. It's a 2-second kill almost that Avost pulled off just there.
Yeah. Now,
that's worrying.
I want to ask you about this Pugna build, because it appears that he might be going for a Scotty. He's got an ultimate orb as well as the point booster. It might not be. It may just be that point booster working towards the Ags, but it makes me kind of curious.
I think so. I think he got the point booster just as a value pickup. He doesn't have to upgrade it. It's a very cost-effective item compared to... Yeah, it takes up 1 slot only and gives 200 health and 150 mana, so... A pretty effective pickup here for Era, who really needed some of those stats. And now I think he's building into a Scythe with the Ulti Orb. He's actually just AFK here. Havost is going to catch him behind the tower. Era has been a little bit... It was the same thing that happened at bottom when he got ganked, just seemingly not... It's like paying attention. Havost ran into him behind the tower from in front. He was in the creep wave.
Yeah.
Just ran in. Invasion all the time. Not quite sure what's going on with Era here. That seems very unusual for him.
Yeah. I don't
lose
know.
Focus like that.
Maybe just twice that he was looking at the shop or touching something else, maybe looking at the courier. I don't know, but definitely weird. It will cost them a tower. They did grab that kill on Doom, though. I was looking at that and then caught the tail end of the Havost solo kill there. And actually, Dendi almost got away. If that Sunstrike had been off the mark, I think it would have ensured his survival, but they did chase him down, and Hani did best him with that Sunstrike. So, still a 1-for-1 across the map, but... doesn't deal with this issue of the Lifestealer now. Not only leading the farm, but he is level 20, 5 levels ahead of Hani, who is the second highest at level 15.
Absurd.
That is really insane. That's huge experience.
That's completely absurd,
actually. And 5k gold in the bank, if you hadn't noticed that. Jeez.
Yeah.
Whew. So, and Era gonna grab a Force Staff here.
Getting Force Staffed in. Very nicely played by Fnatic here. Gonna get him once, maybe get him twice. They have a Sprout available.
Yep. So,
and
coming back up. They should maybe have enough. No, Kuroki going to be there with the swap. Will it cost Kuroki his life is the question. Decrep, Life Drain comes out, and Kuroki is going to be able to walk away with just a few hit points, but the Orchid going to finish him off. Now, Funnick going to step his way into the base. He's going to get CC'd a little bit. There's the Black Hole, Sunstrike on top of it. Havost and Funnick in big trouble. Down goes the Lifestealer. Bristleback going to survive for now. A few more auto attacks. He is going to fall. Now Dendi going to get stuck in the Sprout. Decrep, Nether Blast. Down he goes. A 4-for-0. Really a 5-for-0 if you count the Aegis that was burned first. All of a sudden, Fnatic with this huge spike in momentum. Still a big hurdle to climb here looking at these graphs, but they may be able to do it yet.
That was an amazing play by Era. That Force Staff just gave them so much right there. I don't think... Havost obviously wasn't ready for it, but the problem was the way he was turned, the Force Staff into the base. One thing is to Force Staff someone into the enemy or into your team so that you can kill him, which is a great play in itself, but the position they got Havost into there was extra terrible. He was up inside the enemy base above the stairs, so when he respawned and was inside the Sprout, it's really hard for Na'Vi to come in and help in that angle, especially against an Invoker and Enigma with such powerful AoE control. Just incredible play from Era there, and he might have just redeemed himself with a little bit of sleepy moves he made. That was a really big play there, and Na'Vi should have perhaps just conceded Havost. And like, okay, mistakes happen, he got Force Staffed into the base, he does die twice, that's terrible, but instead of dying 4, they could have died 1. They thought they could take the fight. They were really wrong.
Yeah, a decent Black Hole coming out as well to make the second kill on the Lifestealer happen, as well as the Bristleback. So, as we've talked about many a time, sometimes the threat of the Black Hole is scarier than the Black Hole itself, but that was a scenario where Fly was ready and waiting, and he did make it happen. And now he's actually got 5k gold in the bank as well. Sort of curious what Fly's going to invest in next. I have to imagine BKB is going to be an item choice he's thinking about here. Maybe he wants to grab the Blink, but I'm not really sure what he's pulling up so much for. I think at this point he could just right-click that BKB if he really wanted it.
Yeah. Not sure either. They're
interesting.
Well, that's a lot of gold to have seen. Alright, he's deciding on an ultimate orb so far, so I think Fnatic's approach to this is, okay, since they have so many tanky heroes, we're gonna need lockdown. Just to buy time, here we go. Yeah, Trix is gonna get caught in no man's land here.
Yeah.
And Hani,
he's gonna be able to
BOT's ready.
Finish off the Venge. Oh, not for 40 seconds. He does have the Force Staff, though. He will be able to scoot out. Nice footwork from Hani there.
A 1-for-1. Yep. Okay, that could have certainly gone worse for Fnatic, although they did get the worst trade there. Still, Hani surviving there is really crucial. So, To finish off my trail of thought, I think they're getting a couple of hexes, and there are two reasons for it. First of all, they acknowledge that Na'Vi have so tanky heroes that bursting them down is probably unlikely, so they need to control them for longer, so that they can lock down the key target. And secondly, it's a great counter to Bristleback. While you're hexed, the Bristleback ability does not work, and then suddenly you're not as tanky anymore, Dendy. Bottom lane gonna get Cold Snap and Orchid. It takes lots of damage here. Damn, is he tanky though.
Oh yeah, wow, that Orchid gonna tick for 330, not gonna be enough to finish him off. Sunstrike gonna be off the mark. Hani guessing he's gonna go down, but no, now No Tail gonna bump into him, and Hani will throw the Doom as sort of a one last ditch effort. But gonna be a bit of a wasted cooldown there, of course. No Tail should be able to survive this, I think, without too much trouble. And he'll walk away, so another free kill on Dendy. Poor guy, he's taking a lot of spills. And now 2, 7, and 10 on the Doom. So they're continuing to make his life difficult.
Fnatic has really been focusing Dendy here, and I think it's a good choice when it's a solo mid-Doom. He is fragile in his own right in that position, and Fnatic has really been exploiting it by getting some good ganks, and now in the mid-game they're also still focusing him down. Since Dendy doesn't have any sort of escape mechanism on the Doom that he generally has on the heroes he favors to play, he doesn't have a Shadow Blade, he doesn't have a Blink Dagger, so can't really get out when there's gank attempts coming in, and Fnatic are just making the most of that, getting some really important pickups here, and I think Na'Vi might have just thrown quite a bit away here with that, but then again, they didn't really throw it away. It was just a really good play from Era here. I can't really fault her Vost for that, because who would have seen that exact move coming?
Yeah.
But now they need to be a little careful, is what I'm trying to say. Na'Vi were in a position where they could almost break the base. Now they need to take a little bit of a different approach, I think.
Yeah, and their itemization still continuing to scare. Heart of Tarask just right-clicked for Havost. He's got another 2k in the bank, and of course that level lead he still has. Level 21, only 3 up on the Invoker now, better than the 5 it was just some time ago. And Hani doing pretty well for himself also. He's got another just about 3k in the bank. Boots of Travel, Force Staff, and Orchid right now. Sort of curious what he's going to grab, and I shouldn't have been curious because this one will be a Scotty. I know how silly of me to suggest Pugna getting one, but this one I feel a little more confident in, given that it is Hani and Invoker.
Yeah, it could be that he's getting a Scotty. I think getting one Scotty for Fnatic is really good. When you're playing against a Tricore that's melee, the Scotty slow is really good, but obviously you'll probably only want one of them on your team, and Hani might be the one picking it up. Though I could see him going a little bit more standard and getting a Scythe here. As said, I think it might be the item they need to resort to. What you often see with teams that don't have real late gamers, because if you look at Fnatic, they don't really have any stereotypical late gamer. They don't have a carry. They have an Invoker and a Prophet who can kind of carry, or semi-carry-ish, you know?
Yeah.
And Pugna the same. The way these heroes compensate for their lack of physical damage is, okay, so since we don't hit that hard, we're going to disable longer. And then effectively we're going to be able to do the same amount of damage just over a longer time. And Hex works great on all of our heroes. So in that way they can compensate for their lack of late game and just get Scythes, and then of course eventually we'll have to get something like maybe an MKB on that Invoker or even a Daedalus later on. But for now, Scythes are going to do the trick. They have a Scythe on Enigma, they're getting a Scythe on Pugna, they are probably getting a Scythe next on Prophet who also has an Orchid, and if Hani even gets one. I don't know about Na'Vi here, because it's actually very hard to play a triple melee lineup that has to go in against this heavy amount of disables that Fnatic has in their arsenal.
Yeah. That is true, and we have seen Fnatic do some interesting strategies that involve getting sheep sticks on heroes that don't normally grab a sheep stick. The one match in particular where I guess Hani on a Shadow Fiend grabbed a sheep stick as his second core item, and that was actually what allowed them to win the game. So we'll hold that thought though, as it looks like a skirmish could break out here in the mid. Hani gonna poke his head up the hill, and oh no, he's gonna get doomed straight away. That's a dead Invoker to start things off. Fly gonna use the Enigma ulti, but it is gonna be enough. This kill onto Havost, it will. Does get interrupted very early, but still secures the kill nonetheless. Gonna be a 2-for-1 to start things off. Visage did fall, and Fly might not be out of the clear quite yet. Is gonna move around the trees to try and get a little bit of fog action. Will make it back to the high ground.
Oh,
and
nice sprout.
Yeah, coming out from Trixie. So a 2-for-1, but at least they get the kill on Havost. The death on Hani, though, very unfortunate. He poked his head up the hill and was just instantly blown up and doomed.
Considering the initiation they got there, Fnatic, I think they can be happy with the outcome. That could have gone way worse. Invoker is such an important hero for them right now, and he didn't get a single ability off, and still, they got a 2-for-1 only.
Yep.
So, not too bad, and with Havost dead, I'm not sure Na'Vi can get Rex fast enough. Nice swap here, though, from Kuroki. He is up to level 13, so level 2 swap is helping out a lot. Impetus just mauling Fly here, almost taking him out, and in comes the rebuy.
Yep, No Tail gonna come in. They're gonna get a decent stun off. Trixie gonna be up in the mix as well. Kuroki taking a couple of right clicks. But which way is this fight gonna go? Na'Vi may be overcommitting, but VIII will be the first to fall. Pugna gonna be able to finish off the Enchantress, and now Na'Vi gonna be forced to retreat. They've still got Havost dead. Era gonna poke forward. Decrep gonna come out on Doom. The Tornado. The rest of the hammer are gonna get dropped as Doom falls. And Fnatic will hold. They actually keep their tier 3 alive. A Siege Creep still chipping away at it. Kuroki trying to pour it out. Trixie gonna pop on top of him. Does use that Orchid, and they'll be able to finish him off. They also get the Gem. So a huge fight for Fnatic here, 24-25. Not only do they hold, but they take a very convincing team fight, which will now translate into an easy Roshan.
Maybe not so easy after all. There is a rebuy from Puppey. I think Na'Vi realized that this is too important to just let go. I don't know whether they can fight this 3-on-4 though. They are going to try it. In comes Funny.
Yep, a lot of damage coming out the way of Fnatic. They're going to force staff to the high ground. It's going to sacrifice their Pugna, and he is going to fall. Now what are they going to do? I think they're going to be forced to retreat. This Roche not going to be as easy as I had thought. Down comes the Sunstrike, going to be off the mark. Puppey taking a bit of damage here, but will use the mech, and now they're going to turn this around once again. Fly in big trouble. He's going to get left behind. Does have a Ghost Scepter. That'll buy him a couple of seconds, I guess, deciding he was dead. Will try and commit to it to let his buddies get out safe. The sacrificial lamb to the fullest extent of the definition. Hani ports out, as does Trixie, and VIII, well, he's just fine. So, the flip side, though, yeah, Na'Vi going to get Roche.
He's doing a very good job at getting in on the Pugna. It's a very smart play from Havost because, of course, the way their lineup works, they need to go on the guy who can save the others. Decrepify is the biggest counter that Fnatic has to Na'Vi apart from Scythe of Vice. So whoever Havost goes on, if it's not the Pugna, that guy can get Decrepified. They can buy time for the Rage to expire and then turn around. But Havost always, Tunnel Vision's era, if he gets the chance, Abyssal and bring him down. No one is there to save him, apart from maybe the Force Staff from Hani or Trixie, but I don't think they had them ready or had a good angle there. They actually forced themselves out, I believe, now. Dendy's going to get caught off again here. He's really the guy that Fnatic seem to be most keen on killing off here, and now I don't think Na'Vi can breach high ground once again, but maybe they'll try. They do have the Aegis.
Yeah, exactly, and the Aegis not on who you might think. It is Bristleback who's holding it. Havost actually did grab a Force Staff as his next item.
Actually, wow.
Smart
it's on
choice
Puppey,
here.
the Aegis. Sorry, the Aegis is on Puppey. The cheese is
I'm sorry.
Bristleback here. So.
You are exactly right. My mistake. Yeah.
So yeah, the Aegis on Enchantress here, I think is a nice choice. I feel like Puppey is doing the second most damage in these fights. Havost doing the most, and then Puppey second. He's transforming into a really heavy semi-carry here with that Aghanim Scepter.
Yep. So we'll see how this goes. Fly does have the Black Hole available. Again, he does have a Sheepstick. That was completed. We can glance at the inventories here. Now a Desolator in the inventory of Trixie. So he didn't go that Sheepstick route we were talking about, but just getting a little bit of that right-click damage that Fnatic desperately need right now. He is doing a bit of Rat Dota as he is pressuring this bottom tier 3 for Na'Vi. And this is going to be one of those scenarios where the best defense will be a good offense, and that will pull back the forces of Na'Vi, and will probably force Trixie back as well. I reckon he'll pour it out before too long here so he doesn't get caught. And yep.
Let me check the inventories of Na'Vi's heroes. I think they just got away with murder there. The 4 heroes Na'Vi had in mid that started running back, neither of them had a TP scroll, but Trixie didn't know, so he was intimidated and went back, and they were in the fog so they couldn't check. Trixie could have maybe got the tower there, if not even starting to hit on the range tracks, because Na'Vi couldn't come back to the base. Dendy was the only one with a TP, and he was dead from the gank, I believe.
Wow, so not a single BOT or TP. You're exactly right about that.
That was really close for Na'Vi to go wrong, and that would have almost been... Yeah, that's the worst kind of mistake you can make at this point. Of course you want to have your inventories filled up with useful items, and since Na'Vi have both Aegis, Cheese, and Gem to carry around, they need the slots. I think Kuroki needs to sell a Bracer and get a TP right now.
Uh-oh, Havost in some trouble. They're going to burn the Black Hole for a solo Havost here. He's the one without the Aegis, don't forget, and he is going to go down. Plenty of gold for buyback, though. Does have about 3,500 in the bank. Though, they still secure the kill. Now Puppey, he's going to get sprouted. Does have the Centaur up in the front lines. Will open with a stun. Now Funnick running in. Trixie just going to pour it out. Era going to decrepify himself. Will force after the high ground, but whoa, that impetus hitting for just about 400. He will still port to freedom, but wow, that was one hard-hitting Enchantress spear right there.
And meanwhile, top.
Uh-oh, Rat Dota at its finest.
Dendy, the only guy with a TP has to come back.
Maybe they're wise to it now. Dendi should be able to hold off the efforts of Trixie, and they'll continue to duel up there in the top. We do have a 4 versus 4 in the mid lane here. The tier 3 has gone down, and there is no glyph available for Fnatic, so they need to be a little bit careful here. They don't have Black Hole either, so this is going to be a little bit hard to defend. Another blast comes out, but essentially they're just going to sacrifice the barracks here. They don't want to overcommit and take a bad team fight, and I think this is the right call, just to watch it die, as there's not much else they can do. Trixie going to come back in here. Oh, the Sprout going to be off the mark. Perhaps they could have set up a kill on Fnatic, but not going to be possible. And Na'Vi just going to walk away with a free set of mid lane barracks.
Yeah, Fnatic needs to be very careful now. And I don't think this game is going to be decided by the first lane of barracks, especially not when they have this kind of a push power that they do with the Nature's Prophet global presence. So, a big win for Na'Vi, of course. They did lose the Lifestealer, but get the barracks. And as long as they can buy time now to get another rebuy up on Havost, then they're going to be just fine. He has Boots of Travel now. Almost tempted to say thank God for Na'Vi that they're starting to get some TPs, because that was looking really scary for them the last time around. Not going to make the same mistake again. But still, it is actually only Havost with a TP right now. Dendi will finally get one ferried out together with his BKB. And still surprised to see Kuroki running around with double Bracer and not just selling one of them to get some sort of... a Town Portal Scroll. I'm a little bit surprised that Na'Vi are feeling this confident not to get backdoored or lose barracks on bad map positioning, but... Yeah. Well, right now they're close to their base, so not really any danger just now on that front.
Fnatic did smoke up here in the top lane, but not much going to come of it. Pugna did now finish the Ag Scepter, still sitting on that casual ultimate orb. Probably going to turn that one into a sheep stick, but it appears we were, or at least I was right about my initial assertion of Invoker's Scotty here. He does have the double ultimate orb. Now going to grab the point booster. Oh, and speak of the devil, there it is. So not going to be the sheep stick, and I was actually starting to side with you. I thought the a trio of sheep sticks would actually be a good way to go, but they are going to try to transition into a little bit more of a carry-oriented build, because there is now a Crystallis out on the Nature's Prophet, and of course that Scotty that we just talked about. So they have a little bit of scarier right-click. The question is, will it be enough to deal with that Lifestealer?
I think the only way they're killing Havost right now is if they get him in a black hole. I think Na'Vi are too tanky on all of their heroes, and of course the Nether swap from Kuroki can always get Havost out of trouble, so I think they're gonna just put Havost in the front. He's got 4,000 health.
Yeah.
With the armlet constantly running and 26 armor. As long as Kuroki stands behind, they'll just swap him out if he gets caught.
But here we go,
and
the
Na'Vi
tier
will
3.
just get this tower. I don't think Fnatic... Oh, now they're going to go on funning a bit.
They have a glyph. The pipe has already been used by Na'Vi, but the tier 3 will fall. They're going to save the glyph for the barracks. They're waiting for Na'Vi to commit to it. They want them to poke forward so that they can get a good black hole off. There's no initiation tool, no blink, so it is a little bit more difficult for Fly, but he's waiting for it. He's trying to be patient here. Almost an opening. He thought about it, but he's going to back up. Na'Vi still not doing a lot of damage to these barracks. Have gotten the range down to about half. There's a tornado. And the Meteor as well going to come down. Fnatic taking a good bit of damage here. Havost taking some nukes to start things off. There's the black hole, but he's going to get swapped right away. Kuroki was ready for it. Doom going to get used on the Invoker as well. And things starting to look a little bit grim for Fnatic here. Fly going to fall. And now, or pardon me, No Tail going to fall. Fly going to fall shortly after. And that will be a 2-0. Beautifully done by Kuroki to swap through that Enigma black hole. That's what you were talking about in the draft. One of the classic counter picks to Enigma demonstrated for us very clearly here in that fight. Though we are going to see Fnatic with a buyback onto Fly. They want to try to pursue this still. Dendi going to take a bit of damage. Fnatic taking some damage as well as Eris stands his ground with the life drain. That's going to be the cheese eaten by Fnatic. He's going to pop right back up. Puppy going to be able to impetus down the Pugna and maybe down Fly as well. Whoa, that was a long-range impetus picking off that Nature's Prophet. And yes, now Fly going to go down also, waiting for that Ghost Scepter to expire. And now I think Na'Vi have secured the victory here in this 45-minute match.
Yeah, GG is indeed going to get called. Well played here by Na'Vi as well as Fnatic. I think this was a very good game from both sides, but Na'Vi getting the better of it. Fnatic didn't really hit their timing window, then all of a sudden they actually got 1 or 2 good fights, but at the end it wasn't enough. Havost as well as Fnatic, incredibly tanky, and even Dendi towards the end on that Doombringer as well. And Fnatic's lineup just falls off at this stage in the game if they don't have the damage items, which they didn't get to just yet. The next stage of the game, they might have had a better chance when they start getting damage items up on Invoker and Prophet, but they just couldn't bring down the very tanky death ball, you could say, of Na'Vi here in these pushes. So Fnatic missed their window by a little bit. They could have definitely made it here, and their draft made a lot of sense, but when you reach this stage, it just does not face Navi's that well.
Yeah, it really was an exciting game to watch. I think it lived up to the hype, as this has been one of the closer matches we've seen throughout the last few days, as there have been a lot of stomps, but an exciting one nonetheless. Coming up next will be the Super Strong Dinosaurs versus Navi, and that is scheduled to start in just about 1 minute. So I think we can hop right into that game. I believe the lobby is already up, and Navi should be ready to rock and roll. So thank you for joining us here on Beyond the Summit, guys. We've got one last match coming up for you on this fine Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening here now as we're getting into the wee hours of the European night. I'm Zyori. With me is Cinder, and thank you for joining us here on Beyond the Summit. One more match coming your way.